The man you could be, and the hell you must walk through first. There comes a moment in every man's life when he meets the one person he has spent years running from himself, not the polished version he puts on displayed for the world, not the mask, not the avatar, not the highlight reel. I'm talking about the real one, the creature made of scars, hesitation, buried potential, and quiet desperation. And if you're listening to this, if somehow you found this message at this hour in your story, then you already know the truth. You are not living at the level of the man you were designed to be. Not even close. At that realization, that sting is the doorway to transformation, because every myth, every ancient story, every sacred text, every psychological truth begins with the same archetype: the man who refuses the call and the man who answers it. Let me tell you something that most men never admit. A man does not fall all at once. He collapses quietly, piece by piece, choice by choice, day by day. He breaks himself with tiny acts of neglect. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't feel like it. It's not that bad. I'm still young. One more scroll. One more game. One more excuse. And that strategy is no one notices, because men fall alone and they fall in silence. But this is also where the myth begins, in the rubble of a life you no longer respect. If that's where you are, listen carefully. You're not broken. You are unformed. There is a difference. A broken man needs saving. An unformed man needs building. And you, exactly as you are right now, can be rebuilt into something formidable. But it requires responsibility, sacrifice, order, faith, and the courage to walk through hell with your eyes open. Every ancient myth has a dragon, not because dragons are real, but because what they represent is real. Chaos, fear, undeveloped strength, untapped potential, the treasure you avoid, the responsibility you fear, the future you're too ashamed to claim. The dragon is the part of yourself you refuse to confront. And every time you avoid something difficult, every time you shrink, every time you choose comfort over courage, the dragon grows. But here's the paradox. The treasure is always guarded by the dragon. Your confidence, your discipline, your income, your identity, your masculinity, your spiritual core, everything you want, everything you secretly know you're capable of, is on the other side of the thing you're afraid to face. Close your eyes and imagine him, the man you would admire, the man you would follow, the man your younger self wish you'd become, that man your future family would trust, the man God created in blueprint form. Long before you abandon that construction site, he exists. He exists. Potential is real. It is not optional. It's a responsibility. To ignore your potential is a sin against your own soul. And when you see the man you could be, you also see the man you currently are. That gap, that distance, that ache between actuality and possibility. That is where meaning is born. Not comfort, not pleasure, not ease. Meaning, the fuel that turns boys into men and men into leaders. Most men try to change their life by changing their actions, but actions without identity don't last. You cannot behave your way into becoming a new man if your identity is still chained to the old one. You don't need a new routine, you need a new self concept. And that is what the 52-week system is for. Not motivation, not hacks, not quick fixes, identity reconstruction. Week by week, layer by layer, archetype by archetype. You rebuild order, discipline, masculinity, faith, confidence, high income skills, purpose, personal philosophy, psychological strength, psychological, physical capability. It is not a program, it is a path, a pilgrimage, a resurrection. Let's speak plainly. A man who cannot provide is a man who cannot lead. A man who cannot lead is a man who cannot respect himself. Not because money is everything, but because responsibility is. And responsibility requires resources. That's why we build skills, not fantasies, not luck, not hope. Skills, high income masculine skills rooted in communication, digital leverage, content creation, psychology, persuasion, problem solving, audience building, product creation, ethical monetization. These are the modern tools of the warrior. Your ancestors wielded steel. You wield attention, words, and value. And the system I built, that $657 a day method, isn't magic. It's mechanics, audience, trust, digital product, recurring income, scale. A simple, masculine, honorable way to earn. Not to flex, not to impress, to build, to anchor your life in stability and strength. You don't need to be religious to understand this. A man without a hierarchy of values becomes a slave to his impulses. Every man worships something. If you don't choose what that is, your addictions will choose for you. Call it God, call it order, call it highest good, call it moral aim, but aim at something. A man without a spiritual direction is a man wandering in psychological darkness. And young men today aren't suffering from weakness. They're suffering from meaninglessness. You don't cure that with dopamine detoxes and self-help fluff. You cure it with responsibility, purpose, service, discipline, moral structure, sacrifice, faith in something larger than yourself. The soul of a man is not fragile, it is dormant, and it is time to wake it up. Every epic story begins with a single moment where the man says, enough, enough running, enough numbing, enough shrinking, enough living at 20% of your capacity. And when a man reaches that threshold, that deep spiritual refusal to remain small, he becomes dangerous, not destructive, not chaotic, dangerous in the biblical sense, capable of great harm, but choosing restraint, choosing order, choosing discipline, choosing responsibility. That is masculinity, and that is the man you are meant to become. If your heart beats a little harder right now, if your stomach feels tight, if your chest feels heavy, it's because you know this message is not entertainment. It's a mirror, a confrontation, a summons. There is a man you could be, and he has waited long enough. So the only question that matters now is this: will you continue living as the understudy in your own story? Or will you finally walk into the role you were born to play? Because the world doesn't need any more distracted man, or comfortable man, or broken man waiting to be rescued. It needs men who stand, men who rise, men who build, men who refuse to live small. And if you're ready, truly ready, then the next 52 weeks will rebuild you from the ground up, not into a perfect man, but into a formed one, a man of discipline, a man of income, a man of order, a man of faith, a man of meaning, a man who answers the call, faces the dragon, and claims the treasure of his own potential. This is your turning point, your mythic beginning, your rebirth. Now stand up, your story starts today.